Hello, David. How are you?
Hello, good morning, or good whatever time it is
Yes,
for you.
it is. It is morning here, and thank you
Really?
very much for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
I'm sorry, we're very much what?
I said, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
Good,
And,
excellent. So,
and
yeah, present
yes,
just like you did before.
yeah. So, friends, we have here who calls himself a wizard. So we will get to know about him, about his experiences. So we have David Quigley here, is one of the pioneers in the field of transpersonal hypnosis therapy. He has begun his journey in 1980 and a trainer in this field since 1983. And David, I was born in 1982, so your experience is equivalent to my age. So David has taught his original system of inner guide based therapy, alchemical hypnosis, all over the world as the instructor, trainer, and practitioner. So let us go about his experience, right? Let us know more about David from his own words. So, David, why not other forms of hypnosis? Why you call your hypnosis as alchemy hypnosis,
Actually,
please?
good question, and the answer is because it is corresponding very
Yes.
closely to alchemical writings.
Mhm.
There's one article on my website called Alchemy, Science, or Superstition. Might be worth reading. Most people think that alchemy is nothing but superstition. But in fact, I think that some of the great alchemists, like Isaac Newton, for example, might disagree. However, let's talk for now about how I got started, how I was
Yes.
called into the work of alchemical training.
Okay.
As a young man, I was a mathematics prodigy and physics prodigy. I had a very keen mind for all kinds of science, studied molecular biology and genetics and even quantum mechanics while I was still in high school.
Okay.
However, my life was pretty darn miserable. I was very lonely, didn't know how to relate to other people, had no social skills, was raised in a caring family, but not a family that took care of its children. And so I was suicidal. I basically had no goals in my life except to kill myself. So that's why my science and math prodigy business didn't make much sense. But when I got into college, I wound up taking LSD. Yeah, and that kind of shook up my whole scientific reality here. And I met a beautiful angel who called herself Michaela. That means the archangel Michael in the feminine. And she was a very powerful angel. When she met me, she said, I'm here to take care of you. And she did. She helped to heal me of my emotional pain, healed my inner child, took me back to childhood traumas and neglect, and rescued me from those terrible scenes. Which, by the way, my parents were not evil, but I was born in a war zone. My parents were warriors, so it was a very complicated story. But I needed to rescue my inner child, and I had a beautiful mother that loved to do it and loved to cuddle me and kiss me and love me and help me grow up. And it was wonderful until the day that she said, "Well, David, now it's time to go out for 40 days in the wilderness and your metal will be tested." And I did. I went to several different wilderness areas, but all of them in the northern Rockies. In particular, spent most of my time in a place called the Wind River Mountains, where I climbed Mount Fremont, which 1,000 feet of cliffs.
Oh my God.
And so that was part of my 40 days in the
And this
wilderness.
is the same person who had arthritis.
No, this is before the arthritis. Good question.
Okay. Good.
And so I came out of there just full of power and strength, and I was no longer the weak little wimpy boy I'd once been. But at that point, she said, "Now it's time to go to California and
Mhm.
bring the work of spirit guide therapy to California." And I said, "Okay, that's good. I'll go out there. I'll look things over. I'll maybe look into Sonoma State University or some kind of therapy school." At that point, hypnosis did not exist as a profession at that time. So there was no such thing as a hypnotherapy school. What there was psychology school.
Okay.
I was in college shortly after I experienced that LSD trip and meeting this beautiful goddess. A friend of mine said, "David, I think you want to study this Jungian stuff, this Carl Jung guy, Jung." So I got in his class, and next thing you know, I had a powerful dream. It's all written up on my website. And in this dream, I was in an ancient alchemical laboratory. You know, the little bubbling cauldrons over here, and the alembics, and the retorts, and the all the chemicals and the strange odors. And here I was in a basement laboratory, and there's this ancient alchemical book. And you open up this book, and dust comes out, and there's this image of a beautiful naked woman.
Okay.
I'm thinking, now that sort of got my attention, of course, being a horny teenager. And suddenly she comes to life and she leaps out of the book and my heart starts pounding. And she says, I'm here to bring alchemy to the world with you. And that was Michaela. That was my beautiful angelic goddess mother. And I think she appeared naked because she appears in the alchemical writings naked as a symbol of that her naked body has within it the power of redemption, especially for us men. And that's why I saw her that way. And then when I saw her, then she said, and I have someone I want you to meet. So the next time I got involved in the sacrament here, I met a friend of hers named Carl Jung.
Okay.
He actually showed up. And I got to meet him and learn all kinds of things about him, which just turns out to be true over the years. So I like, this guy is for real, you know. But the most important thing he says to me over the course of a long conversation is, you need to bring alchemy to the world, not Jungian psychology. No, you need Jungian psychology, analytical discussions of dreams, which is what he did. Let's be blunt. That's what his life was about, is book after book about dream interpretations and mystical symbolism. He said, no, what has to be done is different.
Okay.
Somebody has to take their clients into the state of active imagination. That was the words he used. Active imagination, and lead them to their guides and teach them how to work with them on a regular basis, like this one here, like this Michaela. Somebody needs to do that kind of therapy. Would you do that? And of course, the name alchemy does represent that. In ancient alchemy, you meet your inner mother, your inner father, your inner mate, your higher self, your inner child. All of these are alchemical terms from the ancient process. Some people say to me, well, David, wait, isn't alchemical hypnosis really just your brand name for what you do? What holy crap that is. I didn't invent that. Did I invent the fact that you have a nose because I discussed the nose in my training? No, you have a nose.
Yes.
I'm glad that I can't copyright your nose. Thank God. We all have one. And likewise, we all have an alchemical process we need to do.
Okay.
Healing relationship to the mother wound and the father wound by finding new loving parents in the inner world and using their gifts to heal our body, mind, and spirit, using the qualities of a loving inner mate to heal our romantic wounds and help us to finally be fully human. You see, that was the goal that Jung had. He wasn't involved in being perfect. Someone asked him that in a radio interview. Would you like to be, how far are you progressing? He said, on your quest for perfection, you know, nirvana. And he said, I'm not really going in that direction. I'm not on that bus. I'm really here to, I'm a spiritual being. I'm here to learn how to have a human experience. What it means to have a loving inner mate, to have a loving inner father and loving inner mother. That's what he was doing in his books, the Great Red Book. In the book Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, you're reading the story of him in his journey with his inner guides, his inner divine beings. It's not dream analysis with Sigmund Freud, thank God. It's his journey. And he says that's what you need to do, is guide people on their journey, and enough with the analysis. Well, that was the beginning of my commission. And I was told then by my inner guides I had to do it out here in California, out here in San Francisco. They said that the Golden Gate Bridge will be the bridge you have to cross from North Carolina. I mean, come on, really, Christian country down there, you know what I mean? Down there, one friend of mine I was talking to down there who was a therapist said to me, you're lucky you haven't been incarcerated in North Carolina for those beliefs. But there's nothing I can do for it. I can't even recommend a school, he said, at which you could train, but maybe something in California. Maybe out there they have something where you can talk to spirit guides and make love to angels and all that other stuff. Well, I came out here and checked out the Jungian Institute, San Francisco, checked out Sonoma State University. They have a transpersonal hypnotherapy, transpersonal psychology program. And when I explained what I was doing, I said, working with inner guides, the divine self, learning how to bond with these guides, how to work with them, how to dance with them, how to heal with them. No, nobody's doing that. We're not doing that either. Not even here in the great Golden Gate, California, was anyone doing this. So I got discouraged. I said, I'll just be a house painter then. Well, it turns out I wasn't supposed to be painting houses. I guess you figured that out, Nizam. After a couple of years of painting houses out here in California, I was crippled with arthritis. and I could not walk. I literally could not get out of bed or chair or crutches, whatever I was on.
Okay.
Now, I like to say that I was in a wheelchair. I wish I'd been that lucky. Fact is that I lived in a tiny little basement thing underneath a very rickety set of concrete stairs that a wheelchair couldn't even go in or out of. So I basically was crawling around on crutches the whole time. I didn't have a car. I was basically just eating wild plants to survive. It was a tough time. But that's when Michaela, my angel, came to me and said, David, you remember the promise you made to me and to Carl Jung in that alchemical laboratory that was Duke University? Because I studied in comparative religion there, studied psychology, studied transpersonal, studied with a Jungian master, actually. And he said, we don't know anywhere where that kind of thing is going on. But you don't get to do it in this class, because this is Jungian psychology, not mumbo jumbo, not LSD. You see me? And of course, it's not that I needed LSD or any kind of psychedelic. I was just using active imagination, as Carl Jung describes it. But when I came to California and I discovered nobody was doing it, and then they said, well, David, didn't we tell you? You were going to have to start this.
Okay.
When I made that promise, they immediately started teaching me all the techniques I need to get myself healed. And within a few days, I was walking better. But within a few days, and 2 weeks
yourself in few days from arthritis.
Let's be honest. In a few days, I was feeling so much better that I could walk with a cane. And a week later, I went for a backpacking trip. And when I was walking out, I could throw away the cane. And they were teaching me techniques, which you can study in my website. They're all available. How to strengthen your joints, how to heal your joints, how to do your joints. But within weeks, now this is after months of suffering, of course, I was doing just fine. Went out backpacking, had no problems. And I've been mostly a mountaineer, martial artist, dancer. I love dance, improv, do it all the time at 71.
Wow.
So I'm not really crippled with it. But you did ask, does it ever come back? And every once in a while, when I get stressed out, eating too much meat, not paying enough attention. I just back a couple of years ago, I had a little swelling over here. And I showed my students, I said, look, I actually do have arthritis. See, here's the proof. I'm having a little attack right now. Swollen, gets red, gets stiff. And of course, knowing the alchemical technology as I do, it was very easy within a few days to just knock that thing out. Now, the really complicated things, of course, is when I break a bone or something, or sprain an ankle. And my guides also know how to fix that, sometimes in minutes. I have an example. I was hiking with my son up there in the what's called the Olympic Mountains. The Olympic Mountains of Washington. Beautiful, but steep as hell. In fact, every time I say the word Olympics, I get this frightening feeling, because my son, who is a real mountaineer in his 20s, he was pretty rigorous, and I was in my 60s. So we were going down this one trail. I use the broadest possible definition. We're going down this one trail, and it was a waterfall, basically, because all the snow was melting, and this trail was about like that steep. And I just got on I was planning to just kind of ride the waterfall down to a narrow ledge where I could then stop and stand. But unfortunately, I landed the wrong way and wound up breaking about 5 ligaments in my right knee. I could not stand. I was in such pain. But the ligaments, of course, were probably just not completely torn through, but 5 torn ligaments. I couldn't stand. My leg was just doing weird shit, but it wasn't giving me any strength.
Okay.
So I told my son to just keep on going. I'll catch up with you. And so while he was there, my inner healer took over. I went to my temple of healing. I teach this in my training. Went into my temple of healing, and it's kind of like that temple of in the movie. Fantasia. Remember that movie Fantasia, where you have the temple? That's my temple. My inner healer, Michaela, the beautiful angel, one from the Alchemy Lab. She sat there and she got a little bit of glue like this. I teach this to my classes all over the world. A little bit of glue, and just kind of glued together those ligaments. Took a few minutes each one. Of course, I was nervous.
Oh my God.
This is not faith healing, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And she's glued them all together. It takes about 10, 15 minutes, and I got some sweat coming down in spite of the cold wind blowing. And when it's all done, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to stand up. No, David, you have to wait till the glue dries.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there waiting, I don't know, another 10 minutes or so. And then finally she says, okay, David, we're ready. Now, this is a person, I couldn't even stand up. I lived, not just stand up with pain, couldn't stand at all. There was no strength in the knee.
Oh my God.
Now I stood up and I ran a mile to catch up with my son down the trail. Ran a mile. No pain, no discomfort. In my late 60. Yeah, that's the power of somatic healing. And of course, that's the power of Michaela. You know, not everybody has a 10-foot archangel looking out over them every single day. I guess that's one of the benefits of running a wizard school.
And you often talk about the fire accident as well. So could you please share that experience as well, please?
How I do what? The accident? What?
About some fire
Yeah,
incident
the fire.
happened
Oh
because
God, yeah, the fire. Yeah, that was
yes.
that was an awkward
Because
situation.
see about what is Alchemy Institute, people can read on the website, but I want to capture your experiences in this
Amen.
interview.
Amen. And this is a really good story, because you see, what people don't realize unless you've lived in California for the last 10 years is how terrible the firestorms have been out here. I mean, burning literally millions of acres every single year. Every forest, everything from Sequoia National Park, all the trees, many of them are burned down, just over thousands and thousands of acres. So it's traumatizing to everyone in this county especially. And in the year in 2017, 2019, 2020, and I'm sorry, 2015 as well. And all of these years, there were massive wildfires that destroyed entire towns.
Oh my
And so, of course, when there was the glass fire had been moving out south from Napa, which is many miles from here, the fire started over there and was burning at 75 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
On October the 1st, my birthday, my 70th birthday. One would usually like to have a little more of a party. But in any case, the fires were coming down, burning up all the beautiful forests that I ended hiking, because I'm a hiker and I'm a mountaineer and I hate it. And Mount Hood, Mount Baldy, all of these peaks destroyed. Mount Veeder, all of them just burned over. Vineyards destroyed, wineries. Many of the wineries, fortunately, were saved, I want to say for the record, by brave firefighters. But they sure as hell were too damn busy to deal with the flames that were ready to engulf Santa Rosa. And they were coming down through what's called the Valley of the Moon, which is right next to where me and my institute are. I live here in Santa Rosa, right at the east end, right at the edge of these forests, because that's where I love, is the forest, and it was coming right in. So the order to evacuate came into my cell phone. Firestorm approaching. Evacuate now. But all I had to do, of course, was look outside and see the clouds of black smoke going at maybe 50 miles an hour past me, with embers flying with them.
Oh my God.
These embers were one single tree on flames, with those 50, 75 mile an hour winds, in the driest California has been in its entire history, the driest we've ever been. And a single tree could become a torch that would light fires up to half a mile away.
Oh
Hundreds
my God. Okay.
And that's what was happening, is that these I would say almost supersonic type winds were blowing in and destroying everything in their path. Whole villages, whole developments going down. And so I'm getting ready to evacuate, and my angel says, "No, David, you've done fire control work before." Yes, I've been actually a weather worker for 50 years. I can tell you some amazing stories. She said, "David, this time you have to go out there. We need your help to stop this."
Okay.
So I ran, not away from the fire, not to my car to drive away. I ran half a mile into the woods toward the flames, knowing, you could say, failure is not an option, Nizam. Would that be an accurate assessment? Failure is not an option. I ran actually about half a mile up to a place called, about a quarter mile. It was definitely well into the woods, a place called Lake Ralphine. Thank God it wasn't a lake. That was some help. But of course, if I was going to die, I would just die of heat exhaustion. I mean, a smoke inhalation rather than anything else. But here I was standing there with the flames and the smoke coming at me. I actually was able to see the fires above me as they were coming down. And of course, the flames it was screaming at me, be something like 15 minutes before my home would be enveloped in flames. And they are evacuating all the east Santa Rosa area. And so I just stood there, and I didn't know what to do. So I wasn't the boss of this operation. Instead, I was sort of the hired mule, because they knew they needed the ectoplasmic form of a living human being, who also was a master of alchemy, to do this work. So they pulled the wings out of my back. You remember the wings of the alchemical writings? It's actually a golden threads of light energy that form a golden egg around the body. They teach that in the Tai Chi and other martial arts. You see, You can actually create this golden threads, and you read about it in Carlos Castaneda's work, A Separate Reality. And I've learned for many years as a mountaineer, I've saved my life and others on occasion by being a mountaineer with these skills, you know, being able to use, as Carlos Castaneda writes, being able to throw out the threads and climb with the astral threads, assisting you in physical climbing. I'd also done a lot of dance improv, where I've worked with and played with my threads. But I guess things were kind of serious now, Nizam. No more playtime.
Yeah.
So I ran out there and I started dancing with the flames around me, and my guides were showing me as they lifted me out of my body. I don't know quite how they did this. I was dancing my body, but I was also lifted up above my body, and they were showing me where all these spot fires were starting up that they were having to put out all over Annandale Park, which is a 5,000 totally dried out area of forest that was directly in front of Spring Lake and Lake Ralphine, where I was dancing, and my favorite hiking place. And so I saw them in my mind's eye. Everything was, of course, black and smoke. I could see them putting out fire after fire after fire. They were using my energy to do it. I saw a place over there on Skyhawk Drive. The hawk is my spirit animal. So, and I knew the street. And they were showing me how they're setting up these particular barricades and using my energy to stop it. So we actually stopped the flames in the middle of Skyhawk, in the middle of the street. Now, when the firemen showed up the next day, when they finally could get in there, because actually, but I should mention, by 9:30 in the morning, I had been dancing for 30 minutes, and by 9:40, about 40 minutes, I'd been dancing very, very intensely with the smoke coming overhead, the embers falling all around me, seeing all these different things going on. At my feet, when I looked down, I saw that there were little river otters dancing at my feet. Little tiny little black things. They looked like really, really cute little black mice with real furry tails, but these were river otters. They were dancing around me, along with some squirrels, ground squirrels, that also lived in that area, in that lake. They'd all gathered around me. I don't know whether they were just terrified and thought I could help them. I hoped that I could. Or whether they were a part of the mystical ceremony. I have no idea, but they were there. And as soon as at 9:40, I finally noticed the sun was starting to come through. The winds had stopped. There were still clouds of smoke everywhere, of course, but the sun was starting to come through. The clouds had stopped moving. The air was starting to smell fresh. And my phone finally stopped screaming, "Evacuate now." That was the end of the fire. Then the next day, the firemen had reported to the Press Democrat, a local newspaper, a miracle has occurred. A miracle has saved the city. No one knew what the miracle was or who did it. And of course, I'd be the last person to claim that I did it. I mean, for heaven's sake, I was there. I could say what technology they used. I could say that I was a part of the team, like every other firefighter. I was a part of the team. It's just that our team knew what to do with wind. And so I went around the next day and looked at all the spot fires, many of which I'd seen in my psychic vision. And yes, there would be a whole couple of houses had gone up in flames. Everything around it not touched. Everything around it saved. A giant couple of trees completely enveloped in flame, and all around it just a little tiny grass fire that didn't rise more than 1 inch off the ground. I could see the firemen had done nothing. Somebody else had stopped that fire. Yes. And it was my great privilege to bear witness to what they did.
Wow.
What they did, of course, was stop the fires. And I often wonder, and I don't know the answer, Nazim, but I wonder if the reason they stopped those flames, because so many cities had burned to the ground with completely everything destroyed, including what would have been Santa Rosa. I wonder if it's because of the Alchemy Institute was their home.
Wow.
It's a tiny little place. It's not exactly the White House. It's a tiny little office and classroom space, but they knew, I believe, how precious it was. And this Alchemy Institute, where I'm sitting right now, is just a quarter mile downwind from Lake Ralphine.
Okay.
So the first building those flames would have burned, once it killed me, of course, and destroyed all the trees in Annandale Park, it would have taken out the Alchemy Institute. So, which is right on the edge of those woods. So I had to say, thank you, angels. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you for your divine guides and angels. Yes. And you have survived heart surgery as well.
Oh yeah, that was the heart condition was another really incredible story. And I just want to remind all of you who are listening, and thank you for your being willing to host this for us, is that the Alchemy Institute's website, alchemyinstitute.com, does have all of the details, or at least quite a few, not as much of the personal stories I've given you, but
Yeah.
all the details of these stories and how they occurred. And I'm hoping someday to be able to lead people on a tours of the fire lines and show them where all the fires were that were stopped during this. And notice there is no fire breaks. There was no way this could have been done. The firemen were right. It was a miracle. But I can't claim that I did it. I can only claim that I bore witness to it and was a part of that miracle. Now, let's talk about furthermore about the benefit of alchemy. However, before I go into the story of my heart condition, is very simple. That when you are working with guides, when you're working with what Carl Jung called archetypes, you're going to have far more effectiveness with clients than you would if you were being their personal therapist. I'll be honest with you, I'm nowhere near as smart as my clients' inner guides are in terms of their problems and how they're solved. Half the time, if I don't know what to do with the client, I'll say, let's see, what does your inner father say we should do about that? You see me? Or inner healer, what do you think is the proper thing to do with that liver? See me? These are all the questions that guides can answer, you see. But the thing that most people don't understand is that there is now a very powerful and effective technology for training people without having to give it all religious on them. You know what I mean? You don't have to give it all religious on them. Just train them and how to use their guides on a daily basis to change their lives, to heal their bodies and minds. And that's what it's all about. Nizam, by the way, I don't know you as well as I'd like to, although I love your posts and have enjoyed them immensely. But Nizam, where are you from?
I'm from India, David.
Are you in India now? Is that why it's
Yes,
morning?
yes. I live in India. I live in.
And I can see the morning sun glistening on your forehead. That's why I said good morning, because it's actually 7
Yes,
o'clock.
yes. It's morning.
It is indeed. And I have deep honor for India and the ways of India.
Thank you.
I have myself taught in India, and one of my most important majors was in Hinduism and Buddhism. And the teachings of my institute, especially those regarding our spiritual work with karma, are all based on Indian and Tibetan wisdom. So there's a great deal of that wisdom. And one of the reasons I wanted to approach you with this, I thought you might be Indian too. Thank you. However, one of the most important principles in the Yogacara philosophy of Buddhism, which is my primary focus, and also I'm a devotee of Shiva, if any of you know him, the god of the Himalayas, because I am a mountaineer and also a meditator. But my belief but the experience I've had with the Indian gods and the Indian healers and this whole Indian philosophy of reincarnation and working through our issues to achieve enlightenment is so much richer and so much more powerful than what we have in the West. But it is not a religion. It's just the way things are. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I might say to someone, well, Jesse, in your religion, do you believe in the Golden Gate Bridge?
Golden?
No, this. It's just there. It's no, it's just a religious belief. If you believe in the Golden Gate, personally, I don't. I'll have to swim across the Golden Gate when I come to California because I don't believe in it. This has nothing to do with belief. It's just fact. There is a Golden Gate Bridge. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to swear to it. You don't have to worship it. You just cross it. That's what alchemy. Of course, that's a little different than a lot of Indian religions, in which the idea is to find kind of the religious faith and believe in particular, believe in your guru and believe in your gods and believe in your meditations and believe in this, believe in that. I don't believe in nothing, frankly, Nizam, except what my guides tell me is true. And they lead me. I think it's more important to discover spiritual truths than to go in there with a whole shopping list of beliefs that have to be validated here. So I want to make it very clear that alchemy is not a religion. You know what I mean? I've worshipped Shiva. He and I have had some great chats, and I've had some great, I think that's how I survived my 40 days in the wilderness, frankly. It was with Shiva's help. And he has helped me many times. But I'm not going to say you have to believe in Shiva or you will go to hell. You know, I'm not going to sit and read doctrines about Shiva. Well, I do with people, but I don't make a big deal about religion. It's about experiencing these guides for yourself, helping you, guiding you, leading you through life. That's what's important. And that's why the Dalai Lama in Tibet says this. And by the way, he follows the Yogacara philosophy. They call it Vajrayana now, means that's the Tibetan word, same philosophy. Because he says, I'm not here to be an enlightened master and to kind of crank all of you up into enlightenment. I'm just here because I have some wisdom to share, and here's some good ways you can improve your happiness and your fulfillment in life. Ways to improve your life. That's what Tibetan Buddhism is. And I am a Tibetan Buddhist. That is what Yogacara philosophy is all about. And of course, it also helps that it's in the Himalayan mountains, so I can worship Shiva at the same time. But in neither case am I a follower of a religion. I don't even believe in following religion. I believe in, and you say, well, what is alchemy if not a religion? It's a technology, just like Yogacara. It's a technology that we can study. My little book, that little red book, Alchemical Hypnotherapy, is an excellent book to read, to just pick up and learn processes and techniques anyone can learn to use for themselves and others. And not just to heal, a broken knee in the mountains, not just to heal a broken heart or an arthritic condition, but to heal your bodies and your lives through the power of your own inner guides, who are far smarter than I am, far more enlightened for your purposes than I am. I have no interest in founding a religion with me at the top, especially. although I do have a nickname of the Pope of Alchemy. It's a joke, believe me.
Okay.
So I just want to cover that while we're talking about.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for that.
Okay, now you'd asked about my heart situation,
Yes.
and if you want to, well, I was, of course, as a result of October 2nd and the terrible challenges there. I mean, literally, I was covered with black smoke, just like a fireman when I came in for that little operation. Slept for 4 hours, sitting up, fully dressed. Slept 4 hours. I had slept fully the night before. It's just that it was so exhausting. I understand how hard a firefighter's work must be, and it must be even worse to not have any power over the winds. But that, of course, is the power that we used. In any case, I was not only tired, but I was really worn out trying to help the human race. We're destroying ourselves on this planet and have been for a long, long time. It's gotten much, much worse. And people are choosing just to ignore that. People are choosing to vote to lower gas prices instead of voting to save the planet. So I didn't have much interest in being here on the earth playing much longer around these nincompoops. I really didn't. I mean, I don't mean to sound cruel, Nizam, please, but I was just so tired of watching people say, oh, well, half the state has burned to the ground. Let's go ahead and get in our cars, our SUVs, our big trucks, and drive down the road and make sure we vote for someone who's going to bring down gas prices. Yeah. Human beings, they suck. I'll be blunt. Here in California, maybe throughout the world. So I was bitter and my heart was broken. And I didn't, I didn't talk much about this, but I had also been suffering from early in August, but long before this thing happened, I'd been suffering some AFib conditions, and my doctor had warned me about this. My heart was having weird little palpitations. I was getting very strange dizziness, hypoxia, and I knew this could be trouble. And she said, well, if you have any more symptoms, come and see me right away, because we may need to do something. Well, they got so bad that one day I was unable to get out of bed. I just lay there with my heart doing weird shit all day long. I mean, I could get up to maybe go to the bathroom. That was about it. But then the next morning, and I keep thinking, maybe I should call her. Maybe I should go see someone. I want to tell all of you, unless you happen to have a 10-foot archangel standing beside you, take your doctor's advice seriously.
Thank you for that.
Instead, I let it go too long. And the next morning, all of a sudden, my heart started doing these really weird, a syncopated beat you don't want from a heart. I'm not sure I could even dance to it in a disco, but I certainly didn't need it in my heart. And I was getting really, really dizzy, and I was going unconscious. I actually fell onto the floor of the bathroom unconscious, crawled to the bed, and realized that I was dying of a heart attack. And I was kind of ambivalent, you know what I mean, about sticking around. And so when Michaela said, David, would you like me to fix this? I think half of me, frankly, Nizam, was just saying, well, I'd sure like to watch a heart surgery in action from you, from an inner angel. But as far as surviving, I don't know about that. That sounds ridiculous. But in any case, I said, yes, please fix it. And I was very unconscious in most of this, but I do remember her hand literally. First of all, she took one of my hands like this, the left hand, and put it right here. And I'd seen someone do this for atrial fibrillation before very successfully. She put her finger right here at a certain point next to my heart, and I felt the pressure of my finger getting really intense, and her finger going down through mine into my heart muscle, into the valve. And there, in this extreme pressure environment, I'd watched another friend of mine go through this very thing, and it had cured her of a lifelong condition of atrial fibrillation. So I knew that even though it was weird looking, it would work. She put her finger in there through my finger, and I could feel her adjusting the mitral valve and kind of sticking it back in place. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Sticking it right back in place. And all of a sudden it's starting to feel better again. But I noticed there's a tear in it. There's actually a tear in it. So and then I see her do a little fixing thing. And then she says, well, while I'm here, why don't I go ahead and do a little fix up on your electrical system? So she's in there messing around the electrical system. And then I fall asleep. I wake up 4 hours late, or 3 hours, 4 hours later. I'm feeling fine. I'm actually great. Got plenty of energy. I decided to go shopping, get some food, have a nice little meal. So I get in the car. Only when I'm halfway down the store, I go, shit, what did I just nearly dead a few hours ago? What was that? Oh God, it's like I'd forgotten. I'd misplaced my memory of that horrific experience of nearly dying. And here it was. And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute. Now I still had this weird little, as I noticed it, especially when I'd stand up suddenly or, walk at a little faster pace, there was this, maybe it was like a little click going on in my heart muscle, in my heart valve, that mitral valve. Click, click. That wasn't there before. And I said, wait, I'm not dizzy. I'm not collapsing. I'm actually walking down the aisle of the grocery store when I first noticed it. What is this? She said, well, you remember there was a tear in your mitral valve, and I had to put a little stint of glue onto it. So I'm going to be leaving it there for a couple of days, and then I'm going to take it off. So please don't do anything really wild and crazy over the next couple of days. Just let it be restful, And since you know me, I have martial arts and dance and rock mountaineering. I do crazy shit. So I promised her I wouldn't, and I could feel that little ping, ping. And 2 days later, I woke up and it was gone. It was gone. Now, the benefits I noticed immediately. No more of this little weird palpitation thing, gone. My energy and stamina were right back up to standard level of where I'd been years before. Standard level, I doubled my dance routine immediately, and I have a very vigorous dance routine. And I was able to also double I can do up to 6 hours a day of hiking, running, climbing, and I was up to it. I was back to my normal. Wow. And I just couldn't believe it. How could my heart have been repaired like so fast, like so easy? Like, oh yeah, like somebody repairing the plumbing or something. You know what I mean? That was the thing. My valve was clearly working, and it hadn't been before. Wow. However, I got to my doctor and I said, hey doc, I had, you remember that atrial, I had this weird little event, a strange little mysterious surgery. Of course, she was skeptical of all that as well. She's a doctor after all. I would hope she'd be skeptical. But in any case, I said, well, look, let's check this out. So I had her put me on something called a ZIO, ZIO unit. You wear it on your heart, and when you get a weird beat, then you just push a button and it records that weird beat. That is so amazing. So when I have a little heart flutter, I can immediately know, or at least not immediately, I can know to record it, and then she'll look at it. And she's really good, by the way. So here's what happened. I kept day after day, 2 weeks I was supposed to leave this thing on. Day after day after day, nothing. Everything's fine. So I decided to double my dance routine. I decided to speed it up even faster. This is how I knew it was doubled. I doubled it up, and I got leaping and running and climbing and throwing the staff. I do Tai Chi staff. It's pretty intense. Finally, there's a flutter. By cracky, I'm going to have something to report. By cracky, I didn't want to waste her time and all this money that we get from the government for us folks on Medicare. Just if we're going to have nothing. So I took the thing into her after 11 days when it fell off my body. It couldn't stay on any longer. So I took it back to her. I said, here's like, I got several times this happened. And she looked at me. She listened to it, and we had a meeting a few days there. She says, I'm a little suspicious. I don't know if she said I'm suspicious, but I could see it in her eyes. She said, this is not AFib. There is no AFib, no heart murmur of any kind going on. What's going on here is that this is the heart rhythm of a teenage athlete who's pushing themselves a little too hard.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow.
Brilliant, doctor. Yeah. Bravo, Sherlock Holmes. You figured that out, because I was really trying to show you something. And all I could show her was that I had a healthy heart that was working really, really hard. She said Olympic competitors will get this kind of heart rhythm because they just are pushing themselves to extreme limits. And she said, you probably don't want to do too much of that. And I agreed. I said, I guess I don't need to be trying to prove anything to you anymore, because we now realize that essentially I have a new heart. But then, you know what? She reminded me, David, it's not a new heart, it's just a retread. You know, it's kind of an upgrade, but you know, you still have to be taking good care of it. So
Yes.
that's the story of my heart surgery. And it was
Right. Awesome. So, David, till now, I have asked you questions about your experience.
yeah.
And now, the students who have got trained under you, how are their experiences? Are they able to create such experiences to their clients using your alchemy methods?
Well, I certainly wish we had more of those kinds of stories from my graduates. I certainly hear plenty of them over the phone. Oh, my mother this and my this. One of my favorite, but yes, many of them get these phenomenal kind of results. And one of the ways that I know this and find so heartwarming is when I go to Japan. I do a lot of training in Japan.
Okay.
And Japan, unlike America, has a healthcare system that's based on actually caring for people and caring about people. The healthcare system in America is about one thing. It's about making money. And I know doctors and nurses who are very, very good people, but they also know this, that the healthcare system in America is completely broken. They have no interest in my work because there's no profit in it. But in Japan, they're interested in actually helping people, and they're open to new ideas. In fact, my work is taught in conferences and in hospitals and clinics all over Japan. And so when I go out to Japan and we have a group gathered together, sometimes 20, 30, 40 people gathered, all of whom are here to see me, the founder of this amazing work. I'm kind of like the sensei from abroad, right? I hear so many stories. My mother was saved from cancer. This mother, this happened. A fellow came up to me who was he didn't speak much English, and I'm sorry to say I don't speak any Japanese, and that really sucks because I love Japan and its people. This guy comes up, he says, and I was able to gather after a few minutes discussion. He was a brain surgeon. He had to explain this by actually showing me what he does. He cuts open people's brains and he does brain surgery, removing tumors and so forth and realigning things. And he says he gets better results just doing alchemical hypnosis on the brains of his patients, but that the state only pays for actual surgery with a knife. So he will do surgeries in the morning, and then he does alchemical somatic healing every afternoon. And he says the afternoon clients get better results than the ones he saw in the morning, even though he is a very respected brain surgeon. You know what I mean? So he gets all the results he needs with brain surgery to make him a famous brain surgeon. But for those who are willing to go the alchemical way, that's what he told me anyway, who are willing to go the alchemical way, they get better results just working with him in the spirit, in the alchemical component, called something that we call it somatic healing. That's actually the name for it in Japan as well, because they don't have a Japanese name for it. Somatic healing. It actually means healing the body. And these technologies are the same ones I've been describing to you with the heart condition, with the knee that was broken. And all of us can learn to do these things for ourselves in our somatic healing program. You never want to be a hypnotherapist, but do you ever want to go out hiking in the woods? You ever get clumsy? You ever wonder what would happen if you fell down and broke something? Well, now you know how to fix it using the somatic healing protocols. Exactly.
If one has to get trained from your institute, what are the various types of trainings available?
Well, that's a long and complicated story, and I think that's all expressed pretty well on the website, actually. The key to keep in mind is that there are levels of training depending on what your interest is. If you just want to be learning to heal your own life through alchemical hypnosis, we have what's called the practitioner track, which is just you learn how to do it for others and for yourself. You can help your family, help your friends. That's the first level. That's I think that's about $2,000, something like that. And then there's a second level where you are trained to work with other people using somatic healing technology and also using I work with addictions and phobias. I'm doing a conference room class, subpersonalities, parts therapy this weekend to work with addictions, phobias, depression, anxiety. And we also teach you how to promote and market your practice, how to make it work for yourself. I mean, generating alchemical gold isn't that difficult when you have tools like this, because everybody wants it. The hardest thing I have, Frank, in terms of mentioning my work and promoting is people just don't believe what I'm saying. They say you're just lying. This can't be true until they actually experience it And then they go, oh my God, you must be Jesus Christ. No, I'm not. It's just a technology. Jesus is pretty good, by the way. I like working with him, but I'm not him. I'm just someone who has the technology that anyone can learn to use to heal their body, mind, and spirit. And then we have the trainings are a basic training. Then there's the become a professional practitioner and make money working with weight loss, smoking, and disease and doing all these things. That's the second layer of the training. Or you could just take little pieces of it. I just want to learn about past lives. I just want to learn about somatic healing. Many people just take somatic healing alone because it is a standalone course. Many of our courses are standalone, but they're all been moved to Zoom. And I really don't like that. I love in-person classes, but it's because we have so much fun together as a group. But I'm enjoying being on Zoom with it now. I'm really starting to get into the new flow of Zoom. Nice. And it saves a lot of people having to travel a long way, saves a lot of money for them. They can stay in their own home, work out of their own living room. So there's a lot of pluses to making it on Zoom. So we have actually, I think we've cut the cost of the program well over 50% just by giving people the opportunity to study this on Zoom rather than have to come all the way out to California. Yeah.
And please tell me more about the Alchemy Library you have created.
Oh, great. Well, you can certainly find it. People have said they can get lost in that library for a long time. I've been adding to it for now. My site was one of the very first websites ever set up. Okay. Back in 1993, I think when most computer experts didn't even know how to do the www program. But I was able to work with some people that knew what they were doing with www, and we created a beautiful website way back then before anybody else. And so I've been adding to it, using all the profits we make from the Institute to add to our free web library. So you can study anything you want to. Relationship problems, you want to study how to work with those, how to heal the body of cancer, what certain types of cancer mean and what they mean you need to do to help heal them, diabetes, insomnia, chronic headaches. There are articles where you could study free of charge how to use the alchemical tools to assist you in conquering all of these conditions for yourself, or how to work with them with patients if you decide to be a therapist or physician to work with others. This web library is my gift to the world, and along with saving people from firestorms, is my gift to the world. And my hope is that all of you will take advantage of that web library. I also want to recommend the blog. I've been writing on the blog. It's not really in the same section as the library. It's a different section, but the blog also has many different sections, including the story about the Tale of Two Hearts, including the story of stopping the firestorm. All of these are in the blog, and they're also in various places in the website. So you can study and gather that inspiration.
Awesome. And David, one personal question out of curiosity. Why there is no trademark registered? David, I am the creator, I own this. There's no trademark. Why there is so much flexibility here? And just wanted to ask. It's out of my curiosity.
Because that's a very good question, Nizam, a beautiful question. And I received this wisdom from a beautiful angel who saved my life, and who not only saved my life from suicidal despair back in college, gave me a life purpose, then restored my health and vitality from dying of lung disease in my early 20s. I never got a chance to talk about that, but that was another miracle. And then she saved my life again with rheumatoid arthritis. And she said, David, make it free. Make the knowledge free. Charge what you want for what you need to for the services you offer as a professional, the training you offer, but make your library free so anyone, no matter what your income situation, you can benefit by just reading the library and learning what's there and calling upon your guides from the pages of the library and the ways it teaches you how to work. We also have now Nick Ardog, one of our trainers up in Nevada City, has created a beautiful series of audio tape journeys, CDs. Now they aren't tapes anymore, they're CDs. Now they're actually computer downloads, beautiful guided journeys to meet your guides, work with them, heal your body with spiritual surgery. And these are being made available for only $5 per tape. We want everyone to be able to make use of this technology. That's what it's about.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, David. I had been longing to capture your stories, experiences, And here comes, yes, people might say that this is like something goes beyond logic. And you yourself had been into mathematics and science and all that, and the logical mind to move towards alchemy itself.
But you will find many
Alchemical process.
references to physics and chemistry and even psychology within my writings. I am a scientist. You will not, it's not just woo-woo over here. You're going to actually see that I walk through the equation. I don't actually walk through the actual quantum equations. That's a bit beyond my scope, but you will see me walk through how the quantum equations yield the results that we see in alchemical work. So that's for those of you who want to find out what is the science behind mysticism. This is a great library in which to study that information.
Wow.
Now, Nizam, what part of India are you from, by the way? Where are you? Where are you now?
Bangalore.
Yeah, Bangalore. Yes, beautiful, beautiful area. Of course, too many people, and that's what I don't like about India. It's been a long time since I was there. I was in Delhi teaching there, and also in Udaipur. If you're familiar with that, I was a guest of the king of Udaipur when I did some classes up there. So I've had a wonderful time in India and loved it. And I thought you might be Indian, that's why. But I said good morning because I saw the beautiful moon, when I saw Indian sunlight glinting off your forehead, and I had no idea. But I'm glad that my psychic powers proved to be correct.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you very much for your amazing
scholarship in our program. Give us talk to our institute about that if you'd like to take our course at some time.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please tell me, David, about the scholarship program you are talking about. Something.
We have a scholarship called the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Program for helping with minorities and bringing this work to other parts of the world, bringing it to people of color, quite frankly, and people of poverty. I can't imagine a more obvious place than India to bring that to people. We have the scholarship consists of $1,000 toward our tuition. And our tuition is not unreasonable. And I'd be happy to give you that scholarship tonight just for your willingness to pursue me this long and get me up here on the air. Wow. So call Pat about that and talk to her if you want to at the office, or contact our institute. She's our director of the institute and runs all the programs. So you tell her that you've been awarded the $1,000 scholarship and see what else you two can work out. That would be, of course, you have to do at least one of the whole programs to get that scholarship, but I want to make that happen. She can make it work for you. So let me say thank you, Nizam, for being my host tonight. I thank for all of you who've been listening or will be listening to this interview, and I will make sure we get this up on Facebook. Please get this up on your Facebook page and mine.
Sure.
I got to get off to my next session. All righty. See you later.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.